I saw that van again today. I stopped at a red light. It was like seeing a dead person standing right in front of me. I crossed the intersection and went real slow so I could get a good look inside. Some piggy-eyed woman with greasy hair was driving it, and there was a piggy-eyed boy next to her in the passenger seat. A flowered sheet hung as a curtain behind the seats, but I could see stuff bulging up against it. It was obvious to me that they were living in that van. Once you've done it yourself, you recognize the signs. There was no orange shag on the dash, so that made it a little less freaky, even though I already knew that it couldn't possibly be the same van as ours. For one thing, our van would never have made it halfway across the country, and for another, the last time I saw a van, it was totaled. Oh man, do I really want to tell you that story? Oh crud. Okay, here goes. There was this guy parked behind us on the side of a windy road. I remember trees. Lots of trees on both sides of the road. The guy was mad at Eddie and pulled a knife. They started screaming at each other, and Mom shoved me inside the back of the van to get me away from them. She closed the door, and a few minutes later she came in the front door, shaking like a leaf as she put the key into the ignition. I could hear her whimpering, "Please, God, oh please, God, oh please," as the motor wheezed and coughed and stuttered and died over and over again. Finally, the van fired to life, but before she could put it in gear, the driver's side door flew open and Eddie shoved her over to the passenger seat. He looked wild, panicked, and he had blood on his hands and clothes. Mom cried, "What happened?" And he threw the van in gear and yelled, "What do you think happened?" He tore out of there, driving fast and crazy, making me slam against the side of the van as he raced around curves. "Baby, are you all right?" Mom cried, and when she saw that I was hurt, she climbed between the seats and held me close to her, screaming, "Slow down!" at Eddie. "Shut up!" he screamed back. Then he looked over his shoulder and shouted, "We wouldn't be in this mess if it wasn't for you." I can still see his face, still hear him shouting, still feel the van lurching as we catapulted off the road and into a tree. Mom and I flew forward and crunched hard into the back of the passenger seat. Eddie flew forward and slammed through the windshield. For a terrible minute the van teetered, then it shifted and settled onto its side in the gully. Eddie's head was sticking clear through the windshield. There was a lot of blood. I could smell gas. I could hear a tire spinning in the air. Mom's eyes were bloodshot. She whimpered and shivered, and then she threw up. "What are we going to do?" she gasped. "What are we going to do?" I remember my mind racing. Eddie was dead, and the guy he'd fought with was probably dead too. If we could get away from the van, maybe no one would know we'd been near either of them. I heaved open the back door and tugged my mom along by the hand. "What are you doing?" she asked me. "Where are we going?" She looked awful, thin and sick and petrified with fear. I pulled her harder and whispered, "It's going to be all right, Mom. We just got to get out of here." That was the day she quit pretending to take care of me. I guess it was also the day that I grew up.